Hey guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to Cash Offer Masterclass episode number 43. Today we're looking at this lovely home in Aledo, Texas. Aledo, Texas is a suburb of Fort Worth, and they have an awesome football team if you're not aware. This is where Aledo's located. If you look at the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the house is located right there. I think the main part of the town, Aledo's kind of over here, but that actually makes this closer to Fort Worth and kind of more desirable in my opinion. You're right there at the city. You're definitely a suburb of the city. There's the house. Now, if you don't know anything about Aledo, I thought I would share just a quick little tidbit with you about the team, the football program that they have. Aledo is a dominant Texas football town. Okay, they are the dominant player in 5A. Like I live in Arlington, work up here in South Lake Grapevine. South Lake Carroll is the dominant team in 6A. But Aledo, these guys are scary good at football. That's what I know about Aledo. If you were to ask me what I know about it, let me just show you this real quick.
It's this team. They have a couple screws loose. This is the Aledo Bearcats, and they haven't lost a district game in 18 years, which is the longest streak in Texas, and these guys are scary. They've been shutting out their opponents. The score of this game was 60-0, and that defense is full of savages. They were crashing out, and they have this offensive lineman. His name is P-Dub. He has 7 D1 offers. He's famous on social media. He's an aura farmer. He has 170,000 followers. And in the middle of the game, he was already fantasizing about his post-game meal.
I'm going to go to the deli. I'm going to get some Schwiedel.
I think P-Dub might be a Tongan.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Come on, forget about it.
P-Dub's average video gets 1 million views, and people call him the CEO of brain rot content, but he's actually a legit D1 offensive lineman. Look at how big that hole is for the running back to fit through. That's a cakewalk for a touchdown.
Look, so you can see I'm gonna go ahead and kill that. But
Johnson, and when he was
these guys are just crazy good at football. There might be something in the water out there. If you look at the 2025 District 3 5A, 8-0, 10-0 overall. I watched them play Azel. They beat them 73-0. So, yeah, there's something in the water in Aledo. Like if you have a football playing son, you might want to move to this house right here and just have him drink that water because there's something in it. All right, we're going to look at this thing. Now, when I showed you this picture, I didn't find the carport to be that bizarre. But when you look at certain angles of the place, like this shot, you start to realize this thing is a whole lot of carport and a little bit of house. It's kind of unusual in that regard, but we'll see. Now, as we jump into this one, this is a subject to, and so let's just remind you what a subject to is. It says you give us some money and then you take over the loan. That means this deal is subject to the existing financing that's in place with the current owner. They have a 4.75% mortgage, a $2,000 a month payment. They owe $176 on the house. So you can become the owner and take over the existing mortgage for $19,500. Now in future episodes, we may talk a little bit more about subject to. There is some risk in that, the mortgage could be called by the mortgage company if they find out that the home has been titled to someone besides the person on the mortgage. You might imagine that would concern them. Now, there's some issues with that, but for the most part, I know people that have built their business on subject to. Generally, what you're going to do at a near point in the future is you're going to pay off the loan with a different some different financing that you have. And so then you'll truly take it over and not be subject to a mortgage in somebody else's name. And so we could talk more about that. The other thing that kind of concerns me about this is it says plus TC and closing costs. I'm not thinking, I don't know about what TC is right now, but it just tells me that there's plus some other things they want to charge us in addition to the 19.5. That's something to think about as we look at the deal. And as always, I have no relationship with Fazio Real Estate Solutions. I just use their content. If you have any interest in the property, reach out to Jade Vaughn at 214-646-9646. She can hook you up on this deal or any of the deals that they have in Texas. Now, one thing I like about Fazio is, number one, they give us a whole bunch of pictures, and they tell us an assessment on the big five: roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and foundation. And on only the foundation one are they saying do your due diligence. What does this mean? This means, hey, you're gonna need to check that out. There's some foundation problems. It's like, we don't know. No, the roof looks good to me. HVAC, no known issues. So they're not making any statement about quality, but just saying they don't know of any known issues. But on the foundation, you should probably look at that pretty closely. So what do we take away from that? The house has some foundation issues, and so that's okay. That's reasonable. Now, they say on this home at 3908 Linkwood Drive in Aledo, Texas, that the ARV is $312,500. Let's go see if that makes sense. Remember, as we look at cash deals, we're looking at three factors, really. What is the after repaired value, the ARV? If we fix this house and we got it into perfect condition, what would it be worth? Number two, what are the repairs required to get it into that excellent condition and sell it for $312 or whatever the actual ARV might be? Number three, we use the ARV and the repair estimate to compute the cash offer that we can make on the house. And I'll show you in our model how we do that. If this is your first video, if it's not your first video, you know exactly what we're up to right here. And so step one, confirm the ARV. So we're looking to see, is this house really worth $312,500 in perfect condition? So what we're doing, the methodology that we're using, is to use 4 or 5 public sources, get that information, average it, and assume that's the ARV. Now, why would a Zestimate be the after repaired value? Well, Zillow assumes your house is in great condition. They take the comparable sales of other homes around that home, and they compute what this home would be worth, but they assume it's going to be in good condition, just like all the other homes. Most homes are in pretty good condition. It's kind of unusual for somebody to let a house get so distressed that it sells for half its value, right? We've seen quite a few of them on this channel. But so as we come to look, first we see this estimate $296,600. I like to look at the history. You can see that it did peak, as we've talked about many times. The Texas real estate market peaked in the 22-23 time frame, and it's kind of dropped off a little bit since then. This looks kind of like what I see in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Yeah, it did drop off, but then it maintains, and it just maintains its value around that 300. This is exactly what I see in many of the other cities in DFW, Arlington, and others. There was a little bit of a peak and a little bit of a drop, but for the most part, properties in the Dallas-Fort Worth area are holding their values, in my opinion, better than, say, what I'm seeing in San Antonio or in Austin. I almost did a San Antonio house today, and that thing had really come down, and it looked like it was continuing to come down. So in some markets, like if you think about it like the stock market, they got a little too hot, and then things cooled down, and then they normalized. And so this estimate's that's an interesting data point of about almost 300,000. Realtor has it at 308,629. They got that number from Quantarium, right? Something like that. No, yeah, Quantarium. There's a 308,629. 322 on CoreLogic. Actually, a much better estimate coming from CoreLogic, and Collateral Analytics at 291. Those were very recent. We see on Redfin, this property shows a Redfin estimate of 318, 530, and buyer financing fell through. Large home, in-ground, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, interesting to start it with buyer financing fell through. It may have, but I don't know if I'd lead with my marketing on that. And also notice that in these pictures that we see here and here, we see this lovely pool. And I think we're going to see something a little different when we look at it. Now, I also pulled it up on Property Radar. I can't show you that because it shows all the personally identifiable information for the owner. We won't show that. But what we will show is this is what we just figured out. Those were the numbers that I just pulled off those 4 public sites. Well, Property Radar being a private site. But what did we get? We got 310 on the average, which I think makes sense. Like if you look at the spread, 296 on Zillow, all the way up to 318 on Redfin. We have a 310 average. We come over here, that's about 160 a square foot. At 159, we get to 310,050 on the square footage of 1950, which is what we're looking at in that property. So 310 is our ARV compared to theirs of 312. It's just no difference, no big difference. $2,000 is nothing burger in the real estate business. So yeah, their ARV is pretty much confirmed there. Now the question is this a good deal? Like, would this deal make sense? And does the subject to give us an advantage? Like, are we getting super low cost financing for that part? The 176 that would be owed on the house is only at 475. That's pretty good. And it only costs us $19,500 become the owners of this house and to take over the mortgage of 176. Is that a good deal? Well, let's answer that question. First thing I would tell you is there's a couple of things going on here. I always look at a subject to deal and ask myself, what do they want? What is it that they want? They want 19.5 down and maybe more with this plus TC and closing cost statement. And they want the 176 loan balance to be taken over. That's a 195, 523 total. If you just total up those two numbers and we had 0 closing costs or the TC or whatever they're talking about. And so at 195, well, okay, we may have an opportunity here because what we see is if our after repaired value is 310 and we apply, this is the cash offer formula right here, after repaired value times 70% minus the repairs equals the cash offer. And the cash offer is $20,000 more than what they want. So interesting. Let's jump into this deal and see if it makes any sense. Now, I am still a little bit concerned about what that means right there, but well, we'll see. We'll see. So it's the point here in the show. I don't know how many minutes we're into it, but we are getting into the photos. This is my favorite part. It might be your favorite part. I just love looking at actual houses. And I love to see when the wholesalers provide us with a lot of content, a lot of images to look at that they have taken with their own camera, and not just something that I could have found on Zillow. Now, in fact, they've given us that. And also they've even given us a mortgage statement, which I can't show you because it's got personal identifiable information. But I'll tell you, I think they stopped paying their mortgage payment about May of 2025. And so now we're kind of about 6 months down the trail. And there's a lot of pictures that they provided here. Looks like there's a video that was provided, pretty small. I'm not expecting too much out of that. There's a WhatsApp. There's a few WhatsApp videos. Yeah, I don't know what these are. So they got some images and they got some WhatsApp, some stuff from WhatsApp. I'm kind of curious. let's start there just to see what these are. I think the quality is as good as it's going to get. Yep. Pool equipment. Backyard. The pool is covered with plastic. Plastic has a lot of rainwater on it. That pool's been... basically, the house, I believe, has been winterized, and probably winterizing included covering the pool. Yeah. Got a little storage building back there. There's the house. Now, there's something you're going to realize about this house pretty soon. You can't see it in these crappy videos, but there's something unusual about this house. Very unusual. Like this may be one of the most unusual houses we've seen on the channel so far. Got the outdoor little pool house building there. That's pretty cool. Go in there. Go in there. Go in there. I want to see what that is. What is going on here? Just a pool house. Maybe you... Wait, what? They got bongs in there. Did y'all see that? Wait, hang on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look at that. Look on the table. I have no idea what you would do with such a thing, but they've got them there, right there. Don't ask me why I knew what that was. All right, and as we go, this is kind of like a little pool house thing. It's an office building. It's got, window unit in the wall, air conditioning. That's interesting.
Door does not open.
The pool house needs a little work. Even in the blurry potato shot photos, I can tell it needs a little bit of work. Man, there's so much content on this house. We're going to spend an hour together if we look at all of it. So I just noticed just so many images. I'm going to be flipping through them. So there was that. And then, let's see, here's another one. It's frustrating that they made videos, but they're literally the quality of being shot on a potato or a Nintendo Game Boy. Yep. Honestly, I think we could get a better view from Street View. Because it's just blurry. It's just a blurry video. Let's see this last one. See what it is. Give us something. Flooring product looks pretty good. I think when we get in the images, we'll see it better. It wasn't a potato. It was an actual phone being used to film. Yeah, this is kind of a long video. I'm going to skip through it just a little bit because we've got images. I think the images are going to be better for us. But you kind of get a sense of kind of a typical layout. I think this is a 3-2. That was a bathroom. That's a closet. Man, it's so typical. We see so many of these like this. Yep. Yeah, if the video was better, I think this could answer so many of our questions, but the video is just not good. It's not a good quality. Yeah, bedroom. I'm going to skip through this because I'm going to assume we have photos of all this. And the photos would be a better quality. See, it's all winterized. Yeah. Yeah, I love having some video. It's awesome, but when the video's this blurry, we can't see anything. We can't see surfaces or textures or cracks or whether the ceiling has our favorite popcorn. Yeah, you can't really tell. So I'm going to blow out of that and we're just going to drop into the top. There's so many photos, guys. I'm going to move through these pretty quickly. We can see that the pool is covered. They have that pool house. They have that extra storage building. Same thing, covered pool again. Now, I don't know if you've noticed it yet, but there's something unusual about this house. And if you haven't seen it yet, I think you're going to get it in just a few minutes, that there's something not quite right about this house. As my buddy Arvin Haddad says, see if you can spot the flaw. I think it will become quite obvious. This basically says that the panel's been winterized. I think a bunch of stuff turned off. Some stuff probably left on. I don't know. But right here, I see something really unusual about the brick there. Do y'all see that? What's kind of weird? Why is that brick doing that? Oh, wait. Now I kind of see. Yeah, look, the brickwork looks a little unusual here around the box. What is going on with these bricks? I mean, they seem to be not level, and well, guys, it's not a bug, it's a feature. And wait till you see it as we walk around this entire house. The brick, all the brick is crazy. It's nuts. They keep showing me the same picture of this box. This is what we need to move. Condenser outside looks old, but this is kind of one of the first places that, like, you look at the wall and all of a sudden your brain says there's something not quite right here about, wait a minute, what am I seeing? What in the world is going on in these bricks? What is happening here? How could this be? It's like maybe they were drinking and they were sober here, and then they started to get drunk, and then by the top they were just throwing in bricks from other houses that they had. I don't know what. It's crazy. Pool pump, can't tell much about it. You know, you can get serial number and stuff, go figure out some things. I think this is another part of the pool pump. Was it a part of the pool pump versus the condenser unit? Yeah, yeah. I think that's pool pump. This is the outside condenser unit. Looks a little old to me, not gonna lie. So I don't know. It's probably functional, but it's not at the front of its life. It's halfway through or near the end of its life. Here again, look at the bricks. There's just something not right about the bricks. And it becomes even more apparent. Can I see anything like a year? I could get that serial number and probably figure things out pretty quick. All right. Whoops. What happened? They can't display these images. Hold on. 39. No, it won't display these images. Couldn't preview file. Hold on. Let me just drop down in the group. They're all saying that. If I come down to here. Oh, wow. You know what I need to do? I think. Hold on. There's something wacky about that. Let me just drop back into the folder. No, the folder looks different now, doesn't it? I swear, you guys, we have seen some unusual behavior from Google Drive lately, have we not? It's just been weird. Yeah, that's where we were. Sorry about that. But as you saw, Google Drive just said, hey, you can't look at it anymore. No, sorry. Okay, this is one thing I wanted to show you guys. I think there's something weird about this. That is a monstrosity of a carport with this. I mean, I don't know if this is like attic space or what they did with that. I don't know why you would not just do a frame, A-frame, more of an A-frame shape instead of filling that in if you weren't using that space. But it just looks odd. Like if you look at the back of this photo, it's like you took any 322 home with a 2-car garage and you stuck this thing that looks like the front of a Shell station, a gas station, a Quick Trip. It looks like this could be a Quick Trip with pumps under here. This is really, I guess I could say it's an impressive structure, but it's unusual. And I think for adding it to this house, it was overkill. And it just looks odd. You don't see this very often. So that's kind of crazy and gas station like. The other thing that you'll notice is that it's only held up by 1, 2, 3, 4 beams. I think these are metal poles, to be honest, that are wrapped with this, wooden exterior panels. But as you can see, they're starting to rot away. The rain gutter is gone, this section that used to drain down here. And these things, I assume there's a metal pole in there that's still in good condition. But that entire structure held up by 1, 2, 3, 4 support beams is unusual. Now, if these are steel and this is steel, then I think I could better understand why this makes sense. But it just looks like overbuilt for the support that's provided for it, and it just looks like it could fall in your car. I don't know what else to say about it. Okay, this is the picture where you really start to understand what's going on with this house. They might have let the children get involved in the laying of the bricks. I don't know. Like if you look at that area right there, you seeing that? Wait, it's over there. There's bricks going upright in that section, and that kind of bumps it up, and then it's just crazy. And I've seen some houses like this, and actually in my neighborhood there's a house that has a like stones stuck every now and then in the brick, but the brick otherwise is straight. I've never seen anything quite like this with the curves and it's crazy that somebody came in here and they finished this thing off, right? I don't know if it's the same knuckleheads that did this thing, but somebody came in there and finished the top off square. The edges are square, the bottom's square. There's nothing functionally probably wrong with it, but I don't know if structurally this is a good idea to do. It is wacky. It's absolutely wacky. There's a fence. Almost looks as wacky as the brick. But yeah, just look at the brick over there. Isn't that nuts? That's just crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. Here we see that front structure. It is massive. You guys see that? Look at that. Look at that. It is like a Quick Trip built onto the front of your house. We could sell gas and snacks out there. Okay, we're in the house. We've got horrible pictures, and they're too blurry, and we can't see anything. Now, this picture actually looks pretty good. I mean, it makes me think somebody's done some work in here. We've got some decent floors, and the walls look pretty good. Yeah. Look at that old style round vent in the ceiling. Yeah, they got the old style round vents. You don't see those much anymore. It's nostalgic for me. But yeah, look at some work on like the trim, and somebody put some work into this, and like this looks like a pantry or closet. It looks pretty good. Now this room looks like the work hasn't made its way over to here. We've got old carpet, old walls, and I don't know. Oh, those are cords going up to those lights. So I'm not seeing, cracks and stuff, but definitely an area that needs to be redone there. Yep. pretty typical. There we go. There's a closet. I don't know if that was added. Definitely some work has been done. Kind of makes you wonder what in the world caused this to be needed, that you would have to redo an entire wall like that, or half the wall. Not sure exactly what I'm looking at right there, to be honest. And there is a vent, floor vent. Interesting. Little crack there we can see. So there's some foundation issues. I think they mentioned they just ran that cable right around that. Figured you won't even notice. I noticed. All right, looking into this bathroom, and there's been some tile work done. It's so blurry that it's almost impossible to really tell. Here's another point. Something happened. Kind of always want to know what happened to cause the damage, and was it rectified so that we can now just repair the damage? Are we worried about the source of the damage? Because you don't want to repair some wall if the source that ruined the wall, the water or whatever, is still there. You've got to get to the source first, then do the repairs. Under the sink, looking pretty standard there. Missing a handle on that side. Probably not a huge deal. Do not refill. Well, do not use plumbing system. So they had winterized this house, and they had drained the hot water heater. And so as long as, I guess it's winterized, they're not allowing any water to fill into that system. It's hard to tell from this view, but it looks okay. There's no pan under it. Normally we would have a pan under these things if they were up to code in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I don't know. Maybe they're a little looser out there in Aledo. Can't really see much about that, but I think that says 1998. Like 4/1/1998. Not 100% sure. When was this house built? 1960. Yeah. I think that's a 1998 water heater. Here's the inside air conditioning unit. That's the filter down there. Fan, furnace, evaporator coil. I'm not going to be able to get any information off of that. That's okay. It's old. It's older. It's not, brand new stuff. No big deal. No big deal as long as it works. Now that bathroom definitely needs some redoing. And the faucet and everything looks old. The tub looks disgusting. I'm going to go ahead and say I wouldn't take a shower in this tub right now in this current condition. Underside of that sink looks pretty normal. This bathroom, again, there's been some since 1960. Obviously, some new tile work being done. That little inset there is pretty nice. Tile actually looks pretty good, and they've got a more modern kind of, what do you call that? The shower curtain frame railing is good. This is part of the bathroom. Almost looks like brick. They kind of combined a couple of different materials, but this is interesting because there's no sink there. The sink, I think, is right there. Well, yeah, it's right there. So big area to get ready in the morning, but doesn't have a sink. The sink is over there, and it looks fine. Man, I have a feeling this looks kind of half-assed to me. Half-assed finished and needs a bit of work. And so, yeah, looking in there, the flooring doesn't look horrible. Need to really get my eyeballs on it. This is a room that was probably this was probably an exterior wall. This might have been a covered porch or something like that. They closed it up, made it into a full room, and that looks okay. It's a good sized space. Bonus room to be added to the house. Did they have any air vents in there? I did not see them. So I don't see any air conditioning vents. I don't really know if it qualifies as interior space without air conditioning vents. But back into the main house. Again, somebody put some work into this trim. This is almost kind of an old look, traditional look, that style of trim. Kitchen, sink looks newer. And I don't know if is that the dishwasher, I guess. Stovetop. Where's the oven? Oh, see an oven. You don't need an oven. Come on. There's a stove. Right, guys? That floor looks really rustic. Big old lines in between it. Okay, we're under the sink. And if this is the kitchen, that sink doesn't have a disposal. So that needs to be added. That looks like some pretty janky electrical work, in my opinion, with that plastic section right there going. Oh, that looks really janky. That's your P-trap. Yeah, weird. All right. Yeah, some of this floor, it's kind of wacky, but doesn't look horrible. Might be keepable. I don't see an oven in this kitchen. There is no oven. How do you have a kitchen without an oven? That's just bizarre to me. Just bizarre. What is going on? What has happened? There's no oven in the kitchen. There was no microwave. There was no oven. There was just a stovetop. That is weird, man. Something's going to be figured out about that. So many pictures of the outside. Curvy brick idea. They just kept that theme going all over this freaking house. And the bricks look absolutely ridiculous. I just don't think this is a style that caught on, and that's why nobody wanted it. That's why you don't see that on houses anymore. All right. This was a section I think was built onto the back. That one that we saw that didn't have air conditioning vents, I think that's it. And, another thing about this house that I don't like, besides these wacky bricks, is it's just one of those houses where there's no soffit. Like, you can see the base of the roof, and you can see the roofing nails actually coming down, and it looks just cheap. And I don't think that should be open on a house. Basically, I don't think you should see the roofing nails coming down through the base material. All right, we have a back porch, sort of, probably built 20, 30 years ago, and it has seen many, many storms and snows and weather events, and now it looks like that. And I don't know about that, my friends. I don't think that's an asset. I think that needs to go. That really needs to go. And look at the wacky brick again. Oh my gosh. All right, covered pool. We saw that. Pool pump. We saw that. There's a water fountain on it. Honestly, I can't look at that and say it's good or bad, but it doesn't look like it's been taken apart or anything. It looks kind of structurally okay. Yeah, so I'm getting kind of tired of looking at the house. The pictures aren't telling me much. There's a bunch of cosmetic work that needs to be done here to finish this thing. The kitchen had no freaking oven. I don't know what to think about that. We've seen that. Oh, wait, we were in a garage. Yeah. 1-car garage? Is that what that was? Okay, we're at the end. Did it say 1-car garage? Didn't say. It appears to be a 1-car garage. All right, let's wrap this one up, my friends. What do we got here? I think we have a full cosmetic. There's some things about it, like the flooring product, that's not bad. I think it definitely needs general repairs. I'm going to put a 1 in there for that. And then, let's see. The other thing it needed was foundation, and I'm going to put a 1 in there for, whoops. Oh my gosh. Hang on a second. Wow. just sign me off for some. What is going on? What is going on, my friends? This is crazy. We were in the middle of something and Google signed me off and said, yeah, it's me. Stupid. I've never had that happen to me in the middle of a video. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. This video is sponsored by the absolutely ridiculousness of Google. Okay, foundation. I was trying to say one. What's happening? One. Man, y'all, something is going on here. The spreadsheet has broken. Okay. Look, I'm going to stop right there because I'm all of a sudden like the gremlins have attacked this video. They've attacked my computer. They've attacked the spreadsheet. And I think the gremlins were sent by Google, if I had to guess. Thank you, Google. So if I just said, hey, it needs cosmetic, needs general repairs, and it probably needs a foundation, I'm at 170 on the calculator because my repairs are 46,000 on this 1,950 square foot home. I've said this to you guys before. On a 2,000 square foot house, I generally want to have $45,000 to fix it. It's just the way the math works. And if I don't have that, it's not going to get fixed the way it needs to be fixed to get it back to the after repaired value. So we believe the home is worth $159 per square foot in perfect condition, and that it needs about $24 per square foot in repairs. When you look at the actual calculation for the cash offer, it's after repaired value, which is the 310,000 times 70%. That takes us to 217 minus the repairs of 46,800, and we have a cash offer of 172,35 on the house. What do they want? They want 195,523. And so that's going to be the problem on the house that we have today. While the subject to deal looks a little bit convoluted, what do they really want? Oh, well, only 19.5 and I can take over this house and put a renter in it. But can you get a renter in this house at $2,000 a month? I'm going to say no, not unless you fix it up. And if you're going to fix it up, you're going to need $40,000 to $45,000 to fix this place up. And that means if you're going to actually fix the foundation, you may not fix the foundation. Let's say we didn't fix the foundation, just for grins and giggles. 31,000 now is our repairs. We're at 185. They're looking for they're looking for 195, right? 195. Not too far apart, but I think clearly that foundation is going to need work. They told us it was going to need work. Remember what do your due diligence means? It means you're going to have to fix that. Okay. So I'm at 170 on what I would pay for this place. And with kind of the convoluted subject to, taking over the mortgage deal, they're at 195 plus it sounded like might be some other costs involved, TC and closing costs. So the deal just starts to get a little sour for us. We can't make the numbers work to get to that 195 that they're looking for at least. And so that will be it today, guys. Thank you for joining me today on episode number 43. If you haven't seen episode number 40, watch that. It talks about how we find motivated sellers, how we find cash deals. It's one of the most informative videos I think I've ever made, and I think I've kind of actually spilled out a lot of secrets in that video, but hey, I love you guys, so that's what I'm gonna do. Go to Cash Offer Masterclass to get the calculator. I'll send it to you for free. You can do these calculations yourself. It'll also link you to the channel. You guys know the channel. We're at WBH Dev on YouTube, but you can always search Cash Offer Masterclass on Google or YouTube and you'll go right to it. That's what we had for you today. This beautiful house here in Aledo. I think it needs a lot of work, and I think there's going to be buyers that find the massive carport and the wacky brick to be just a little too much, a little too weird. And that's what might make this house a little harder to sell. I do think it comes with a free chair right there. So, that's a bonus. That's right. Guys, Thanks for joining today. I just want to special shout out to my 1% club. Those of you that make it to the end of the video, I love you guys. I just thank you so much for sticking around and being part of what we're doing here at the Cash Offer Masterclass. And with that, I'm going to wish you adieu. We'll talk to you tomorrow.